Oh, I already said this. I'm so excited to
I'm so
be to
excited
have
to
you
talk about.
back.
I'm so excited to just talk about the fucking Muppets. I love the Muppets. I love the
Yeah.
Muppets so much.
It's truly this. I put on the episodes. We like I think I started with the Rita Moreno episode, and I was like, this is I don't know how many times I've seen this. It was all like it just was like I know all of these bits. I
Mhm.
know, and it's just comfort. It was just like also all the characters. It's like those are our friends. Like
Yeah, I mean, like that's the thing with the Muppets. I'm assuming you both grew up with them, if only
Yeah.
like start like having watched Sesame Street as children.
I
Like
watched
they,
Sesame
Yeah.
Street as children, and then honestly, because I remember the Netflix disc era, the Netflix when they were mailing out discs, and there was a lot of shows that my parents were like, "Oh, this was really special to us. Let's get these." I mean, maybe it was even Blockbuster. I don't know. I just know that they would rent videos of shows, not just movies, and be like, "Hey, watch this," for my sister and I. And the Muppet Show was definitely one of them.
Mhm.
We also watched a lot of like classic Scooby-Doo.
Mhm.
What's New Scooby-Doo was like the main show we watched because that was coming out contemporary. But also we watched the original Scooby-Doo. We watched like some Brady Bunch, some classic Sabrina the Teenage Witch. I don't know. I just remember there was a lot of, but the Muppet Show, I definitely watched like multiple times because I'm just like, I know the song by heart. I must have watched it a billion times because it's just
Mhm.
in there.
Yeah, I actually more at least as a child because I don't know who I got it from, probably some friend. Or may have taken it from a friend's house, but we had a bootleg VHS tape of like several recorded episodes of Muppets Tonight, which was like the 90s version of the Muppet Show that
Oh,
aired on the Disney Channel. So it was done after Jim Henson died. So it's not quite like the Muppets were never quite the same after Jim Henson died. And they're
yeah.
especially not the same now that Frank Oz isn't voicing Miss Piggy anymore. That just really none of the original cast that brought the Muppets to life are a part of it. Or, never mind the fact that Disney bought them out. Like everything Disney touches turns to shit. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched the shit out of that VHS tape.
My like favorite kind of Disney adult is always just Muppet fans that really dislike how Disney's been handling or like not being entirely sure how to handle the Muppets. But I feel like they're slightly trying to improve it.
I don't know if y'all did research. I a couple like years back actually read Maureen Ryan's Burn It Down, which is
Mhm.
a excellent book of investigative journalism and like
Uh,
interviews and just like a reflection on Hollywood and why it's so fucked up. If you have not read Burn It Down, put it on your list. But I remember I was like, she talks about the Muppets and like the new Muppet content. So I went back and I re-listened to that section. So I have a couple notes on
okay.
like some of the behind the scenes stuff of new Muppet stuff. And then also an article that she mentioned that I was like, ooh, this sounds really interesting. And it was it's got a funny title. It's the Sometimes It's Hard to Be a Feminist Film Critic or Why I'm an Asshole at the Cinema. Um
Me, literally me.
and that like talks about specifically the new Muppets movie
Mhm.
and how Miss Piggy is handled in like
Yes,
and being like
absolutely.
they don't they don't this is like weird the way Miss Piggy is handled because so
They made
but
her a girl boss. She's not a girl boss. She's supposed to be a girl failure. That's the whole joke. She's a truck driver who thinks she's Miss America, that thinks she's Bette Davis. She can't be fucking Miranda Priestley.
so yeah we Miss Piggy we could have not just done an episode on the Muppets, we could have done an
We could have
episode
done an
on
episode on
just
Miss
Miss
Piggy.
Piggy.
Yeah.
She's camp incarnate. Like that's it. Doing the Muppet Show is kind of just an excuse for us to do talk about Miss Piggy.
Yeah.
But I am literally going to put this Maureen Ryan book in my on hold at the library because I feel like this is also going to be very pertinent for my own show.
Oh, and the audiobook's really good too.
Okay.
Yeah, no, the best chapter I think is the chapter where the Muppets is talked about, which is basically like how like struggles with representation is because
Mhm.
of the like dominant IP. It's oh my God,
Yeah.
it's a
Oh, absolutely. I
it's
know this so
yeah,
well.
but back to the Muppets.
Oh, actually, oh my God, I forgot. I should have run this by you two, but I have a guest with me. I'm not sure if I should bring him on. He's right here. And again, I'm sorry I didn't clear this with you before. Um, hey, it's Kermit the Frog here.
Oh.
This is from childhood. My mom kept this, saved him from when we sold my childhood home. So, and has been keeping him in her closet at her apartment for the past couple years. And I went home in July just to like hang out and watch Sinners with her. And she pulled him out of the closet. And I was like, Mom, you kept him? So this
Oh.
is, yeah, it's a fully like bendable Kermit. He's got like I can bend his limbs. This is when they actually made toys of a substantial quality. It's officially licensed. This isn't bootleg, but no, I've had this since I was a child, and my mom would tell me stories about how I would on the front porch in preparation for when the mailman would come. I would sit like my Kermit, my Winnie the Pooh, and my Piglet in their little chairs for like a little tea party.
Oh my God, that's
And
so
yeah,
cute.
so I am never getting rid of this, by the way. This is precious.
I just realized we never did a formal introduction. We just started talking about
Yeah, we
it.
just started talking about the
Um,
Muppets.
and I was gonna do a bit. That was also an amazing bit. I was gonna sing.
It's time to play the music. It's time to light the light. It's time to meet the Muppets on the Muppet Show tonight.
It's time to put on makeup. It's time to dress up right. It's time to raise the curtain on the Muppet Show tonight. To introduce our guest stars, that's what I'm here to do. So it really makes me happy to introduce to you
Nicole Veneto! But yeah, so anyway, hi, welcome to It's Giving Camp. We're talking about the Muppets and Nicole's back.
Hi, third
Yeah.
time's a charm, baby.
Fourth time.
Fourth.
Oh yeah, that's right, fourth time if we're counting Jennifer's body.
No, it was
Or, wait, what
Yeah,
else did
we
do?
did Death Becomes Her.
Yeah.
So we did the Suicide Squad.
Oh my God,
Center
you're right. No,
Johnny.
this is the fourth
Yeah.
Death
time.
Becomes Her. Now the Muppets.
And fifth if we are counting Jennifer's body on
Yeah.
my show.
What a mix of things that we've talked
I
about.
know. This is such a it's so eclectic, but they're all united and tethered by the camp sensibility.
And like
arguably.
discussions of femininity.
Yeah, don't worry, we're gonna spend a copious amount of this episode talking about Miss Piggy as the pinnacle of femininity, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also like favorite guest stars and favorite Muppets. Like, so basically my history with the Muppets is just kind of like the movie from 2011 and then the very short-lived The Office inspired show. And I'm pretty sure I watched both the Christmas Carol and the first Muppet movie with you, Saffron. And
oh yeah. You hadn't
I
seen
think-
those before.
yeah, and I think it was over quarantine where I watched a couple of the original episodes from the Muppet Show, and that's kind of where the idea to do this episode came from, because I've been wanting to cover the Muppet Show like since It's Giving Camp was conceived. So now 4 years in, and we're finally
Yeah. I didn't realize you didn't grow up with them.
like, I know who they are. I just didn't like actively watch them.
Yeah. I'm sure other people have made this joke before. Watching Muppets in Space. Is it Muppets in Space or Muppets from
Muppets in
Space?
Space.
Pigs in
Muppets.
No,
Well,
Muppets
Pigs in Space was the
Yeah.
thing, but Muppets in
Muppets
Space,
in
that's the one
Space.
that's
Yeah.
about like Gonzo's an alien. He wants to find his people.
No,
It's-
Muppets in Space, early queer awakening. Unironically, Gonzo is
a queer icon.
Gonzo, because he's a Muppet, but he's not like no other Muppets. Because all the other Muppets, you could be like, that's a pig, that's a frog, that's a Swedish chef. Gonzo is Gonzo, and
Yeah.
he's a little freak, and he doesn't always feel like he fits in, and it's just
Yeah, that's constantly the joke of his character in the Muppet Show. And then when you see the movie, he has that really beautiful song. Oh God, I forget, why am I blanking on the title of the song? But it's all about how he wants to find other people like him. It's a queer anthem.
Yeah.
That song. But yes, like I forget which episode it is. No, it's the Liberace episode, because the joke with that episode too, which is the gayest episode of the Muppet Show, it rivaled in my opinion only by Vincent Price as just the other gayest guy to ever host the Muppet Show. But Liberace wants to perform with birds. For some reason, birds, that was apparently Jim Henson's idea. And Gonzo really wants to have him and his chicken act be a part of Liberace's performance. So he tricks the doorman into being like, I'm actually just like a weird turkey.
Oh God, one of the things, there's so many things to love about the Muppets.
Oh
One
my
thing
God.
I noticed rewatching these episodes is I'm like, oh, they're so clearly just foam. Like, and that's one of the camp things about the Muppets, is that I'm like, those are my friends. Like, those are real people. Like, if I see the Muppets, I'm like, no, that I know who you are.
That's Kermit the Frog, and he is my friend, and he's literally sitting right in front of me.
But it's also just like spray painted foam. It's just, and it's so, I think it's so,
They're
like,
performers and artists that happen to be foam and fabric.
Yeah, it's the thing about the Muppets also is it's an achievement in special effects. Like, there was a period from the, I want to say, late 70s, like when the Muppets really gained popularity, through to the early 90s, before CG animation was a thing, where if you wanted to see a creature on film, you had very limited options that just kind of included, all right, we can do fucking claymation, stop motion, or puppetry. And Jim Henson, like, in addition to, you know, being a great puppeteer, he was really pushing the technology to have puppetry do things that had never been achieved before. I mean, you look at Labyrinth, or especially the Dark Crystal, which is entirely puppets. And the different kinds of Muppets you have, besides, you know, your usual ones, which tend to take like more than one person to operate. So that's incredible coordination is needed on those parts. But you have like the people-sized Muppets, where it's a guy in a suit that needs a TV monitor in there to see what he's doing. It's incredibly elaborate, and I really don't know if anyone, like, it kind of boggles the mind when you're watching this, like how easy it is to buy into that illusion. And then when you realize the level of technique and coordination that had to go into it, it's really mind-blowing how they're able to achieve this. It's wonderful. I love the Muppets. There's so much to appreciate.
Yeah, Rolf has to play the piano. That's like two different guys playing the piano as if they're one guy.
Yeah, like that Roger Ebert quote too during the review of the Muppet movie. He's going over great moments in cinema, and one of them, he says, Kermit rides a bicycle.
Yeah.
Or anytime you see a Muppet walk around, like you see a Muppet from like the waist down, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how did they do it? Or you see Kermit sitting on a bench which I know they don't quite do in the Muppet Show because, you know, they're not, there's like there's of course a lot of technique and stuff they're using to like push the boundaries within the limits of television even there, but
it's still
like,
television.
It's still television, and what they're able to accomplish, like even the Liberace like performance, which takes up the entire back half of that episode. I watched the version of that episode from the like DVD release, so it's introduced by Jim Henson's son Brian. And he points out specifically the moment where Liberace switches off with Rolf at the piano, like how that had to be achieved. There needed to be another person playing piano just off screen to make it look like Rolf was playing the piano, because the puppeteer can't actually see what he's doing.
Yeah,
because he's like they elevate, they got to shoot the Muppets from like an elevated, like they have to build those sets on an elevated platform, because the performers are all standing up with, you know, their hands up to puppeteer. So like, yeah, Rolf's puppeteer can't actually see the piano, he's just kind of like mashing keys, but like you're able to create that illusion, just all like the timing and the as I said repeatedly, the coordination that has to go into this is not anything to like take for granted.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I think sometimes it like floats around online of a behind the scenes photo. I think it's from Muppets Take Manhattan. There's like you know, an entire like church full of Muppets.
Yes, it's
And
Muppets Take
it's
Manhattan.
like the behind the scenes where it's like, oh, every single one of those, because they're all individually like animated puppets.
Yeah.
So every single like in this giant group scene, it's all a giant group of people like also like underneath, and it's like this really I didn't look it up beforehand, and it just like came to mind while we're talking that I'm like, oh, that's right. Like anytime there's a group shot, which I think that, you know, there's one in like the later opening, because the like opening title song like evolves through the seasons.
Yeah.
And later there's like it's the whole audience and crowd of Muppets.
Yeah, after season one, because season one is like it's not rocky at all, but it's like not the Muppet Show we know it to be, like in terms of its like cultural footprint. And you can tell because they hadn't settled on a single voice for Miss Piggy. Miss Piggy is not nearly as prominent. Like she's not the fully formed Miss Piggy you get in the later seasons when they finally decided on Frank Oz. You're just kind of seeing this impression of who Miss Piggy will become.
Well,
and then when you get to
design changes too,
and the design
right?
changes too a little bit. Yeah, they gave her like a nicer wig. Her eye shape kind of changes because she was originally designed by a woman named Bonnie Erickson. Just they needed a female pig puppet for a skit, and just found a nice wig, and you know, to cover up like the hooves they had on that puppet, she just put gloves on her, which is why Miss Piggy wears the gloves. And she was originally referred to as Piggy Lee, or Piggy Lee, which I think they shot down in case of copyright purposes. So she became Miss Piggy. And one of the like Miss Piggy origin stories I really loved, like the thing that ends up defining and unlocking who Miss Piggy was, is like Frank Oz was in rehearsal for a scene with her and Kermit, and the script called for Miss Piggy to slap Kermit because their whole relationship is so screwball comedy. It's perfectly suited for that. And instead, Frank Oz karate chopped Kermit. And that's Miss Piggy to me. As I said, like he described her, she is a truck driver who wants to be a movie star.
Oh,
I was rewatching parts of the Be Kind Rewind video on Miss Piggy. I also love that Frank Oz literally wrote like a backstory for Miss Piggy. And it's a very classic old Hollywood actress backstory of like, she came from a farm and she had to work from a young age, and she probably had some affairs that hurt her, but now she has Kermit.
She's Pearl. Her backstory is literally
Yeah.
Carl.
I feel like this might also be a good time. I'm gonna read this quote from the article I mentioned. It's by Laura Canning. The Sometimes It's Hard to Be a Feminist Film Critic, or Why I'm an Asshole at the Cinema. And it's a little bit long, but it's like two
Please.
paragraphs that I'm like, this is so perfectly nailed. I feel like why Miss Piggy's an icon. So, quote, Miss Piggy is a tough, vain, powerful, physically strong, determined, commanding presence. She is also a puppet of a pig, playing a woman, controlled vocally and physically by a man. In this sense, she's allowed to do things real women are socially penalized for. She is, essentially, allowed to be a popular icon of femininity who states the important thing for her is that her needs are met, rather than subsuming her own needs to those of a dominant male, because she explicitly isn't a woman. She's also a vulnerable creature, as expressed in her deep love of the frog in her life, her Kermie, and a flawed one, as illustrated by her many moments of supreme pig-headed, it had to be done, stubbornness. She occupies a complex position in the archives of 1970s feminism in particular, having accrued a sort of mythology around her that other few female TV characters have ever achieved. Alien, Ellen Ripley, and Buffy Summers may be greater and more developed characters, but before them, there was Piggy, high-yawing her way through the stars, and generations of us girl children carried a comforting little something of her persona with us as we tried to negotiate our way through the gender maze.
Yes. I mean, like, it's so real because the Muppet Show is such an easy watch. It's like something you can easily like put on in the background, just have running. It's not a high stakes, like you don't need to be super locked into it the way you would for a straightforward narrative television show, because the whole format of it is a variety show. That's like the framework.
I literally put on some of the episodes we were discussing while I was doing chores, because I was like, I'm gonna listen to these amazing, like you get to hear great musical performances, and there's other Muppets there, like
yeah, but whenever Miss Piggy is on screen, you lock the fuck in, because she is the fucking funniest. Just like the way Frank Oz plays her, precisely because of having to tap into that dichotomy. It's drag. It's a drag performance, which is what he's doing.
Yeah. And she's like the most drag of the Muppets, because like arguably all the Muppets are doing drag in some way. Like they're technically performers, but they're felt and foam. But they behave and act their everyday lives like they're just regular theater actors putting on a variety show.
And that's camp. That's like the ethos of things being what they're not. These aren't humans. Like Miss Piggy is not a quote unquote real woman, but she performs femininity, and if that's not fucking camp, I don't know what is.
I love whenever her wig gets in her face and like she tries to swat it out.
No, I love that there's also just like a rule book for Miss Piggy. The Be Kind Rewind video points out, like, if she wears a hat, she always has to have one ear poking out. Her color palette, she doesn't wear anything like brown or that appears in nature. She's wearing these jewel tones, stuff that's like very unnatural, because that ties into her backstory of having grown up on a farm and wanting to get away from that life. Like Miss Piggy, in addition to just being like incredibly goofy, is a very well thought out character, especially on Frank Oz's part, who I believe like really tapped into some personal experiences, like engaging with his own levels of femininity, masculinity. I know in the relationship he had with Frank Oz, which is truly like one of the great creative partnerships in existence, like bar none. But like Frank Oz was a lot more high strung, and Jim Henson was much more go with the flow, laid back. Like their entire relationship was basically Bert and Ernie. And it's, you also see it a bit in Kermit, voiced by Jim Henson, and Miss Piggy. Like Miss Piggy is a little bit more I mean, Kermit's also very high strung, especially in the Muppet Show, where it's the
yeah.
joke. It's like most of his storyline is always, I need to control these insane people to put on a fucking show.
Yeah.
So there's actually a bit of a reversal there. Like Miss Piggy like holds herself in such like a usually calm demeanor, but it doesn't take that much to break her, and she will immediately drop the illusion to be like, you know, karate chop somebody, or she'll panic if someone detects that she's really not as classy as she holds herself to be, like noticing she's using French incorrectly because she's just using it to seem a higher class than she actually is. So there's like I also just love, especially where it concerns Jim Henson and Frank Oz, how you can see like their own personalities in the puppets they are controlling as well.
I think a lot of people don't really like, I don't know. Miss Piggy and Kermit, like, yeah, they have a contentious relationship, but they love each other.
That's the point. That's the point. That's the screwball like comedy formula. They're supposed to be constantly at odds with each other. That's tension. That's sexy. Not that I want these
That's
puppets
a
to actually
frog and a
fuck, but
pig.
like it's a frog and a pig.
And like I love this this scene. It was in the Lena Horne episode where she's flirting with Kermit, as she always does, and Kermit's like, oh well, I don't really have time for someone in my life right now, and she's like, oh, like, what, death, come to me now, like, she's like so dramatic. And then Kermit is like, aren't you overdoing it a bit? And she's like, maybe. Like, that's their relationship, is, yes, she's super overdramatic, but he knows that that's her. Like, they know who the other person is, and they don't, like, if Kermit actually didn't like Miss Piggy, he wouldn't, like, you know, he wouldn't have her around.
yeah. I mean, that's the he has to give her a little reassurance, like give her like a little bit of an inch, and she ends up taking a mile, and that's their whole relationship, the give and take between them, that will they won't they kind of dynamic, the contentiousness of that relationship, especially, and you see that especially in you know, the subsequent seasons after season 1 of the show, when they've fully like really realized Miss Piggy's character. But that's like introduced in the pilot episode, where even Miss Piggy doesn't have like a single voice yet. It's being shared with Frank Oz. Like there's a little moment where it's this, I forget the song they're singing, but it's like a choral arrangement, and Miss Piggy's like clearly flirting with Kermit. And that's like, I watched it, I was like, that's the beginning of this. That's where it started. Like, she's like not quite the Miss Piggy we know, but it's the like part of the pleasure I got from watching selected episodes from season 1 was just seeing sort of the shape of who Miss Piggy will become. Like you're seeing a star being born. Yeah. You're like, that's gonna be Miss Piggy. Like that's her. You're just kind of seeing the first iteration of this larger than life icon that I have based so much of myself on. Like, she's like, Miss Piggy is truly an icon of mine, and I don't care that she's a puppet. She's completely real to me.
Yeah, and I do feel like that also kind of applies to every Muppet, because like whenever they're even like at a talk show or something where you can see the performers, like you're always focused on the character and just seeing the character. Like your brain just blocks out the actual person in favor of the character.
Yeah. No, I love this also isn't quite related to the this is more of a Sesame Street thing with Kermit, but like like the thing I watch whenever I'm feeling very sad is there's that clip of Kermit and little girl, and he's like, sing the ABCs with me. She goes,
oh yeah,
A-B-C-D-E-F, Cookie Monster.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, it's Jim Henson trying to work with this tiny little girl who's making herself laugh. And, there's that moment at the very end where he's like, oh, I'm tired of this. I'm leaving. She goes, I love you. And then she gives him a little kiss on the head. And especially for children, like, they completely buy, like, they don't care that there's clearly a guy underneath there. They are interacting with this puppet like it's a real person. Yeah. And so do we as adults. Like, I have had so much shit to say, especially on my own podcast, about the infantilization of everything, how much media nowadays is like so indebted to and yoked to nostalgia and treating everything with kid gloves, and how we can't let anything go. But like, if I were to ever have children, they would be like no fucking Cocomelon, absolutely not. No, you're watching the Muppets, you're watching Sesame Street, because like, I still feel that magic. In like my early 30s, I watched the Muppets, and I, despite being very cognizant of the like technical aspects that have to go into this, the sheer artistry on display, like how they need to specifically frame a shot and like plan for these for this very accomplished thing to be done for an illusion. Like, I still completely buy into it. I am still like the little girl who just looks at Kermit. Like, I'm looking at Kermit right now, and I'm just like, I love you.
It sure is great being in the show business, Chief.
Yeah, Scooter, but I tell you, this isn't an easy job. Huh? Sometimes in this business, you have to be ruthless, merciless, and cruel.
In what way, Chief?
Well, I just cut Piggy's song from the show.
Why?
Well, because there's no way she could follow the great Lena Horne. She'd look ludicrous. Yeah, but these are command decisions, Scooter. It's lonely at the top.
He's right. Yeah, I've got to be ruthless, merciless, and cruel.
Oh, how kind my Kermit is, not wanting me to overshadow Lena Horne.
Oh, no. He got your number so you wouldn't look ludicrous.
What?
Well, I'm sorry. You see, I've got to be ruthless, merciless, and cruel.
Cruel? Mm-hmm. I'll show you cruel, kid.
No, Kermit never told me about this part.
Like, rewatching some of these episodes and watching some of them for the first time, I like, one of the things that stood out to me about this show is how it truly is for everyone.
Yes.
Like, anyone can watch it. It's not like specifically for kids, or a thing that's like for kids but also trying to be for adults. Like, it literally can be enjoyed by everyone for different reasons. And I also watched one of the clips they did for the pitch, and they were like, one of the moments in that pitch really were talking about how like different aspects of the show would resonate with like different kinds of people. Like, the kids will like the puppets, the adults will like the jokes, and the hippie freaks will like all the freaky little guys, whatever.
Oh yeah, this is also, goes without saying, the Muppet Show is great to watch when you're like smoking a bong. It's great to watch high. Like, it's truly a show for everyone. And I think you're referring, because there were a couple of pitch like pilots that were done by Jim Henson. I think you might be talking about Muppet Sex and Violence, because like the hurdle for Jim Henson getting this made was by that point Sesame Street was on the air, very successful, but that came with a bit of a downside, because there was now this very close association between the Muppets and children's entertainment. And he was showing like every network in the United States this pitch reel, be like, hey, I'd love to get this Muppet Show done. Will you take us on? He got rejected by every single one. And so the Muppet Show actually had to be filmed in the United Kingdom. Because like he showed it to, I don't have, who was the producer who finally took them on? It was Lou Grade. Yeah, he brought it, like Lou Grade, who was a British producer. He agreed to co-produce it for ATV, which was a UK network. And so they filmed the Muppet Show entirely in the UK. So that's why I believe their first guest star once again, I don't have, give me 1 second, I'll pull her name up.
Well, also, who the order of guest stars is very confusing, and like,
yeah, that's also a thing too.
There's like what you find online, it's like a different order than what was originally released.
Yeah, or what was actually aired.
Yeah,
that tends to be the problem with a lot of older shows. They air out of order. But it was Juliette Prowse, I believe. And she was a dancer, so she...
I did watch all the episodes on YouTube, and the Vincent Price one is definitely... At least all the clips, you can combine them together to make a full episode.
I used completely legal means to watch because I'm not giving Disney any more money than I have to. But actually, speaking of Vincent Price, because I posited this question to both of you as like a fun thinking exercise of like you hear that meme all the time of like, what's the best movie you could recreate with the Muppets, and there has to be only like one human like actor character. I was thinking like, who, especially nowadays, because I know they're bringing the Muppet Show back officially. They announced that.
Yeah.
Again,
they're at least doing like a test pilot performance thing.
I think right now they've only announced a special, but it's not a full series, but
yeah, but like
with Sabrina Carpenter, who is a great guest, great choice.
That I have a feeling. I bet that probably finally were like, let's bring the Muppet Show back after Sabrina Carpenter had that performance at the Grammys, because that was that was going around and everyone was commenting like, this is a Miss Piggy performance, you know, like she's and I said in when we were discussing doing this episode, like, who would be a great guest star for a new Muppet Show that isn't Sabrina Carpenter or Chappell Roan? Those are like the obvious answers. Or Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga has also done a couple things with the Muppets and already, but I landed on it would have to be, for me at least, it would have to be a drag queen. I would say either like Trixie and Katya or probably Jinx Monsoon.
Oh
yeah, especially because Jinx has like the Broadway chops now.
I want to see Charlie XCX with the Muppets.
That'd be funny. I want to see I want to see a Muppet do coke.
No, that's the thing, is that I think it would be so camp.
I would love to see her with Janice from Electric Mayhem.
Yes.
No, I absolutely see the vision.
And then also, since like a lot of Muppet guests are musicians, but they also, you know, sometimes just like do comedians. I was thinking about a couple of like comedians / actors that I think would be really fun.
Oh, I know a good one.
You
go.
I want to see Keke Palmer.
Keke Palmer would be very fun. She's incredibly exuberant.
Yeah.
I think she definitely has like the energy that is very well suited for the Muppets to interact with.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking.
I was gonna say, if only because I really want to see it happen. It would be very funny regardless, but I would love to see Stavros Halkias host like the Muppet Show. Just that would be beautiful. The like come town to hosting an episode of the Muppet Show pipeline would be quite the glow up, because something my mom told me she was referring specifically to Sesame Street, but I think this also applies to the Muppet Show. You are nobody until you have been on Sesame Street, and you are nobody until you have performed with the Muppets. Like, that to me is the true demarcation of fame. It's not how many followers you have on social media. It's not your stan base. Have you worked with the goddamn Muppets?
It's also like a real test of like how good someone is at performing and also interacting with things that aren't human, and also being able to have fun. That's
the key there, especially in there in my opinion also needs to be a level of camp and a star persona as well. Like, I think specifically in camp, and also you got to be kind of a little bit gay, or at least have a gay appeal. Like Liberace. I know we didn't watch the Elton John episode specifically, but like Vincent Price Vincent
Yeah.
Price and Liberace to me, as well as Elton John, just like the trifecta of gay guys who are great to work with the Muppets because they have that not just like larger than life star persona, but they're fruity with it, and the Muppets are fruity. It's an incredible, like there's such a gay through line between between like gay culture and the Muppets. Like what the certain like media, like the besides like the jet, like the Miss Piggy of it all, shall I say. A lot of the like things they will reference, especially because it's like the 1970s, they're pulling from the same uh pop culture that your classic gay diva worship would.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you know, your old, I mean, Miss Piggy's entire persona is like an old Hollywood actress that is like classic gay guy, like the classic gay guy sort of or like diva worship right there. And also just like, this is neither here nor there, but just I was observing kind of like what Muppet Show humor is, and so much of it is just stupid puns. And a
Yes.
stupid pun is
Yeah.
always so funny. Actually, if there is a joke that perfectly encapsulates what a Muppet Show gag is, it's the intro to the Gilder Ratner episode, where they do the little break during the theme song for the joke, and the joke of that intro is Gonzo says, "Oh, I always get butterflies before the show starts," and then a butterfly comes from us off stage with a baseball bat and hits him.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the joke. He got by a butterfly.
Well, and I also love that, like, I think this might have been more like a season one thing, but sometimes the Muppets just like, they make a dumb joke and then they just look at the camera.
Yeah, they do the Jim office stare at the camera thing. I bet they probably got that from Muppets.
It's just, they're like, they know it's dumb, but they're like, and that, I mean, whatever else you have, like the, like, you know, Stetler and Waldorf, like, are just like being like, here's a dumb joke. It's just like, it's kind of like a, because it's a puppet laughing, it's like, it's a fake laugh, but then it's like but it ends up making the joke kind of funnier because you're like, oh, they know it's kind of a bad joke.
I mean, if they know it's stupid, there's nothing funnier than a stupid joke and the people being in on the fact that it's a stupid joke and doing it anyway.
That's Fozzie's whole thing.
That's Fozzie's whole, exactly. That's Fozzie's entire shit.
Well, okay, if we're talking about how like Miss Piggy is kind of this like, I would say, camping this Hollywood star, I was thinking about the fact that like, oh, all of the Muppets they're playing on a trope of a kind of performer.
Yes.
So Fozzie Bear is the stand-up comedian, you know, Gonzo is a stunt man. The great, you know, he's the great Gonzo, and of course he has his chickens, but he's also always trying to like do some crazy stunt like wrestle a bear or something,
eat a tire,
get you know, shot out of a cannon. And then, you know, and then we've got the Electric Mayhem, which is also like camping a kind of like, you know, like 70s band that is, you know, kind of hippie, but also, you know, kind of getting into rock and roll. And I think it's really fun that I mean, the way, I think one of the ways that it's camp is that it's not just all parody. It's not just all making fun. It's very loving in the tropes.
No, that's a incredible observation. That's totally dead on. Like there's, I believe also like Susan Sontag said that as well in Notes on Camp, that there is always a level of reference to the thing being camped. You know, you can't camp something from a purely like mean or nasty angle, or else it loses the fun there, and it just becomes like fully mean and cynical in a way that is not enjoyable for anyone. And the Muppets are doing it with such love, even if they're just poking fun at it, because you got to poke fun at something you love. You can do that if you love something.
I will say I won't entirely claim this observation as my own. I will say I was listening again, to Burn It Down, as I mentioned earlier, and Maureen Ryan's description of the Muppets. I was like, oh, that's camp. Like, she doesn't say it's camp, but she says, like, quote, the Muppets often satirize popular culture, but they tend to do it from wry, bemused love and rarely descend into bitterness and condescension. And I'm like, yeah, it's like, it's a parody, but it's not really a parody because it's not mean-spirited. Like, camp can be mean-spirited.
Yeah, they themselves are pop culture.
Yeah.
Like, they are pop culture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like on my note of like who would I pick to guest star on the Muppet Show, I think my number one is Bill Skarsgård.
That could be cute. That could be cute.
Because I feel
he
like
goes like the Vincent Price route, and playing up the I am every like modern horror movie villain now.
Yeah.
Like they build sort of the episode around him coming out as different monsters. He comes out as Nosferatu, comes out as Pennywise. Maybe they throw in a barbarian gag in there. He ends up being like the mother in Barbarian, even though we didn't play him.
Well, yeah, I think that's, I mean, we were talking about this when we were like brainstorming episodes. Like, I think another aspect of like who's a good guest star is that they have to have a kind of like cultural image that can be played with.
Yes.
So it's not just that like, oh, they need to be popular. It's like they're popular for having a certain kind of persona, like a certain kind of role they always perform, or a certain music that they play.
Right.
They have to be a strong performer who has that energy too.
Right.
also like the energy either needs to be matched or completely contrasted.
What would you mean by contrasted? Can you elaborate on that?
Like, I feel like, for example, like Debbie Harry is kind of a contrasting figure for the Muppets in the sense that she's like this cool rock star, and the Muppets are the Muppets.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean, because like you don't think like Debbie Harry, you kind of don't think of, especially at like the time in the 1970s.
Yeah,
this was before she was like Debbie Harry the actress. Like this is before Videodrome. So, you were really just more or less associating Debbie Harry purely as a female rock star. It would have been like if Hayley Williams had gone on to do an episode of the Muppet Show.
I also, when watching Debbie Harry, I was like, Hayley Williams could work as a Muppet.
Possibly.
Like, I don't think she's quite as big. Here's also the other thing, I think. One of the things that's a little bit hard about thinking about modern Muppet guest stars is we're at a point with culture is that there aren't as many household names anymore.
No, there's no uniculture anymore.
It's like celebrities are almost all niche celebrities.
Yeah.
And a lot of the really popular people like are Muppets material.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think anyone wants to see Benson Boone do a backflip over Kermit?
Yeah, I was thinking that I better not see that man near the Muppet Theater.
Asshole.
That's the thing.
Terrible mustache.
I looked through like SNL guests and musical guests, SNL hosts and musical guests for Muppet Inspo, and a lot of them I was like, they're not Muppet energy.
No, because they don't have a personality outside of a very carefully and curated public image that is totally tailored to their niche audience.
Bad Bunny would also be a good guest.
Yeah, but I think again, Bad Bunny Bad Bunny's big, but like also, like with this Super Bowl announcement, it's people are like, well, wait, who is this person? You know, like I don't.
Yeah, your like racist uncle is like that guy is just not an American. It's
And
like
like I don't know.
he's
I
from
like.
Puerto Rico, baby.
Was there ever like controversial? I mean, now in
Alice
hindsight, there's
Cooper. Alice
Alice
Cooper.
Cooper was because I yeah, the Brian Henson intro for that episode, he points out that at the time Alice Cooper was considered pretty controversial. Schools Out for the Summer was banned in several high schools across the country, and he was regarded as like a shock rocker. Even
That's
though
true, yeah.
we look at him now and it's like he's so unk. He's so like it's such like a goofy glam rock
yeah.
persona too. Like it doesn't read as shocking to us young people, but I'm sure in the 1970s you show a guy a weird man with long hair and eyeliner and they get really scared. But that's also like Alice
The entire
Cooper's...
backstage plotline was him trying to get the Muppets to like sign a deal with the devil.
Yeah, they're doing Phantom of the He's trying to do Phantom of the Paradise Swan to Kermit the Frog.
Well, yeah, you're right, because also Alice Cooper was the one episode where I'm like, oh, this is like a guest who is too much for the Muppets. Like usually the Muppets are too much for the guests, but it did seem like they were playing up into this idea that it's like, oh no, this is too much for Kermit and the gang.
Yeah.
Mr. Cooper.
Yes.
Let me come right to the point. You, sir, are a demented, sick, degenerate, barbaric, naughty freako.
Why, thank you.
Freakos 1, civilization 0.
Another kind of minor thing I always loved about them, like Kermit especially, I always just really love how specific Kermit's puppetry is, because it's classically just someone's like, you know, Jim Henson's hand up there, and so like all the movements of its head are just like him squashing his fist. Like I love like when Kermit gets like very frazzled, he just goes like
the Kermit face.
It's
like,
so funny,
and he also shakes.
It's so
also whenever they let go of his hands and they just flail him around.
yeah.
But watching the Muppet Show, I think this might, I don't know if this is actual like modern Muppet media or it's just like perception of Kermit. I feel like people make out Kermit to be more innocent than he actually is. Because in the Muppet Show,
he's kind of an asshole.
He's kind of an asshole. Exactly. He's
kind of a dick.
He keeps being like telling his friends like, "Oh no, like you shouldn't do that act." And there was multiple times episodes we watched where it was like, you know, like Miss Piggy like wanting to sing and it's like, "Oh no, you're, you know, not with Lena Horne." And then, you know, and then it's like, "Oh, you know, Gonzo, Liberace doesn't want your chickens." And then at the end of the episode, the guest is like, "No, actually, yeah, I want to work with them," or like, "Oh, they're great," or, you know, "I'm gonna have the chickens be part of my Las Vegas act." Like,
and Debbie Harry fully joining the Frog Scouts.
Yeah, you know what?
like,
Actually,
Kermit was like, he's like a bit of a micromanager, like not having like faith and thinking like Kermit. Like we always talk about Sam the Eagle is the Muppet who doesn't think he's a Muppet and he's ashamed of the Muppets, but there's a little bit of that in Kermit too. A little bit of like, we can't embarrass, we can't scare off.
There's a neuroticism. There's a neuroticism there that's like that very funny contrast, similar to how Miss Piggy is a truck driver who thinks she's Bette Davis. Like a puppet shouldn't be neurotic. You're a puppet. You have your felt. You have a simple life, and it's just be funny. But like Kermit's neuroticism is like and how like tightly wound he is, because he's trying to put this show on and control all of these fucking weirdos.
Yeah.
And it's like the stress of that also just manifests in the performance where he does the shake Or I love when he's excited, he does the, I'm gonna do like a visual with my Kermit. He does the like that's like so fun to this was so fun to do, to shake Kermit around.
I definitely think I am more of a Kermit than a Miss Piggy. And I I'm watching these episodes, I'm like, yeah, this is a fact I need to accept about myself, is I think I'm more of a Kermit, and because Kermit is a bit of a mess.
I also feel like there's a big distinction as like which Muppet is most like you and which are your favorite Muppets.
Yes. Oh, absolutely agreed. Because like, I think like all of the Muppets you can kind of relate to in different ways, and enjoy different things about the different Muppets, but they also at the end of the day they're all kind of little weirdo outcasts, because they're puppets, like they're not human. And I mean that's also why they're like, many I think are very like, they're queer icons. I also think Scooter's really fun. He doesn't, none of the episodes we watched have Rizzo. When is Rizzo the rat introduced?
That's a good question, because I know he was definitely part of the Muppets ensemble in the 80s, because I also watched the Miss Piggy special, which I highly recommend, because it's all entirely Miss Piggy, and it made me like almost cry laughing the first 5 minutes, because it does the classic Miss Piggy thing where she's shouting at people from backstage, and while the credits are rolling, she's like, "Get a ladder! Get me down!" It's so funny. But Rizzo is in that, so I'm not sure when Rizzo is introduced. But I know he is definitely a part of the Muppet ensemble by the early 80s.
I love Animal. We haven't
mentioned
Animal.
Yeah.
I have such a love for Animal too, because my dad's a drummer. And so especially like he was a drummer in the 1970s, and Animal is specifically modeled off of Keith Moon from The Who, whose reputation was just being a complete fucking animal. So Animal's like his greatest moment is in the Rita Moreno episode, because she won an Emmy, like the Emmy that got,
and also
her
the Harry Belafonte episode.
Yes,
as well.
The Harry Belafonte episode too, Animal gets to shine in. But Animal's so fun. Just he says he can only repeat phrases. He's pure like id.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's just a loud little guy.
He's just a
loud little guy.
And what I love about Animal too is like, they're kind of just like, yep, that's Animal. Like I think there is maybe one of the episodes, I can't remember which one, where like Animal is like chained up, and Kermit's like, oh, we need to make sure that's a shorter chain. But like the band, like the Electric Mayhem, they're like, yeah, this is our bud, Animal. Like, like they're just like, that's who he is. Like they kind of just like, they know he can get carried away, but it's very like, I don't know, they're very like accepting.
I also really love Rolf.
Rolf is one of my top ones.
He's good. There's another little like Muppets clip I watch whenever I'm sad. I again forget which episode it is. It might be the Gilda Radner episode, but it's the clip, you see this go around every so often, where he's singing and just petting like a little puppy. And it's the cutest goddamn thing I've seen in my life, like up there with the the ABC Cookie Monster clip. I'm actually just realizing right now that I rely pretty heavily on the Muppets to help me through especially stressful times in my life, which has been really acute this past year. So watching the Muppets has been incredibly healing for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's joy. I can't say that there's like profound lessons to be learned, but I think it is a kind of like the Muppets are these performers, these characters that you can watch and be like, see yourself in, maybe see your, who you want to be in. And it's all very like, it doesn't have to be that serious because they're puppets. But
Yeah.
but the camp nature of watching Muppets and also us discussing this is like, yeah, they're just Muppets. They're just puppets. It's just silly and fun. But it's like, no, yeah, take that seriously. These are role models. Like,
Can I, you know what? This is such an obvious thing to say, and it's kind of eye rolling at this point, but the Muppets are kind of a queer found family. you know,
yeah,
they're none of them are related. There's the frog and a pig are in a relationship together. That's like the Muppet movie is all about finding that community too. And the big lesson of the Muppet movie too is there's joy in making something with your friends.
yeah,
And that's like, even if the Muppet Show doesn't, in that variety show format, isn't trying to teach you anything, like the Muppets have carried like true messages, especially of acceptance and
yeah,
love and embracing being weird. That's I think especially the like underlying um that's like the underlying theme of the Muppets is embracing your inner weirdo, because that's the Kermit is just trying to keep all these fucking freaks together to put on a show, and they do it every goddamn time they deliver.
I feel like that's also a lot of part of the charm of like the guest star, like and the single human, where like there's clearly someone who resembles us and that we recognize, and they're so happy to be there and like are clearly having a lot of fun with these puppets.
yeah.
Mhm.
I think Nicole, like you're like, oh, this is kind of a cliche thing to say, but it's not. It it doesn't feel like, oh, this is like we're forcing a queer found family reading on this, because they are like, the Muppets are performers. They are like theater kids. They're
Yeah.
they're performers. That's what, like, it feels so natural and real because in real life, bands of performers, actors, musicians are queer found families often.
Yeah.
Like that, it's uh, the Muppets are that because I think, I mean, they were Jim Henson, and all the puppeteers were either representing aspects of themselves and their friendship or people that they knew.
Well, I believe hold on, who performs Scooter? I believe Scooter's performer was gay or is gay.
Yeah. I feel like this is further proof that Scooter is very real.
He's the most kind of like, because I think he's I mean, he's like literally based on, yeah, he Richard Hunt, because he was like specifically based on Richard Hunt, because Richard Hunt started as a PA. And so he his personality is directly grafted onto Scooter. He also, oh my god, he also performed Janice, so he's also doing drag as Janice. I mean, well, Janice is also, we kind of, Miss Piggy, I feel like overshadows Janice a little bit, but
I
like
love Janice.
also like, in addition to being a queer icon, you can also easily make the art. It's not even an argument, but like Miss Piggy and Janice are like trans as fuck.
Yeah.
They're trans icons as well, just by virtue of, the gender bending of their performance.
As we're talking about, how these Muppets are both behind, I was going to say behind the screen, but the behind the puppet and also
Yeah.
the character themselves are kind of these representations of queerness and stuff. Something that I found really interesting, reading or listening to Burn It Down by Maureen Ryan, and the discussion that apparently, according to writers that Ryan interviewed who worked on the newer Muppet shows, they wanted to like kind of make stuff that was always coded be like just straightforward. And specifically there was like a reference to Uncle Deadly, who's not a character that I think in any of the episodes we watched, but
yeah, he's a new favorite of mine. Like I particularly noticed him in these, and I'm like, okay, I love him.
Yes, he is. Okay, yeah, he's in the Vincent Price episode. Yeah, you probably saw that poster and you're like, hold on, if I speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so apparently the writers were like, okay, yeah, this character's always felt very, like coded as a gay man. Let's just write him as openly gay. And then the Muppet performers who are, at this point, like with all of like kind of since like the Muppet movies and stuff, there has been kind of a group of performers that are kind of consistent. Yeah. They're not, they're not the originals, but they were they shot it down. Like this is allegedly, that's the thing that with investigative journalism, it's really interesting to hear where it was they were kind of like apparently there was like this buzz that's like, well, that's all of us pretend this is just silly and fun. And I am not against having characters who are just, coded a certain way, and I don't feel like can still absolutely be meaningful representation if it's not like literal. But it is kind of unfortunate that like almost because that they are puppets, it's like, oh well, we can't we shouldn't bring in this political stuff. Like
yeah,
one of the things I rewatched was this clip from the 2015 show that was only like one season, that like it's borderline text and canon that Beaker and Dr. Bunsen are hooking up.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. There are a couple.
It's such a good clip.
There are gay couples that just look like that though.
I don't know. Apparently also the showrunner of that modern show was there was kind of some issues. Inappropriate comments and stuff, but also like
multiple reasons why that show only lasted a single season.
But also apparently allegedly didn't like Miss Piggy and like called her like crazy.
All right.
And the writers like that Ryan interviewed were like, how can you be like, you're running a Muppet show and you don't fundamentally understand what makes this
what the fuck
Muppet work? Like, she's not crazy. She knows what she wants, and
she's a queen, and you respect the queen,
and she demands it in a very exaggerated way. But that's Miss Piggy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. That's like mind blowing. Why on earth are you even like here if you don't fuck with Miss Piggy? Literally, why are you here?
Yeah. So it really like, it's so interesting. And I mean, it's this kind of, I know it's something that you have talked a lot, Nicole, about like, the, constantly rebooting and remaking media and like all just continuing this churning out of content in this established IP. And it's really can be quite disappointing when it's like, okay, we're, the studio is hiring and trying to reboot, keep trying to make a show work. And it's like, if you don't actually have creators who understand the original vision, and also it's kind of like, I don't know, we love the Muppets, and we talk about like, what are some modern, guests that would be great on the Muppets. But the Muppets were kind of great because it was Jim Henson and Frank Oz and the whole team.
No, that's the thing. Like,
and it was the 70s. And it was the 70s.
Yeah, the Muppets were never the same after Jim Henson died. Because, I mean, beyond the fact that he was the voice of Kermit, like, it all came from his mind. Like, he initially wasn't thinking of going into puppetry. It was just a job he took up, and he realized he was very good at it. And over the course of time, he literally changed the game for like visual effects, like what you can do. There's I forget the name of the video. I watched another thing that was about what was colloquially called Muppet cinema. So that period from like the late 70s to like the early 90s, before CG like took over everything, where you had like you had to rely on an animatronics puppetry. Like, we can also trace back like animatronics to Jim Henson, like innovating that. Like, that's also all him. And in addition, like, also speaking of Richard Hunt, also, not only was he gay, I just saw he passed away due to AIDS, like not long after or before Jim Henson. And Frank Oz has stopped voicing Miss Piggy since like 2002. And like there's also just like there's such a close relationship between the performers and the Muppets themselves, where it's like when you I mean, like, on the one hand, you wouldn't want to have a situation like The Simpsons, where Marge's voice actress is too goddamn old, and it's like sad, and you don't want to see something be prolonged past its glory days. And that was part of the reason why like they ended the Muppet Show at season 5, even though it was as successful as it ever was. Jim Henson was like, it's better for us to go out on top than to have this thing go on and on and on. And that's why he went on to do Fraggle Rock afterwards, and in addition to like working on the Dark Crystal. I just combined those two, Dark Crystal and Labyrinth.
That is a double feature.
Also, I mean, it goes without saying, but like David Bowie himself would have been a great Muppet Show guest. He basically kind of hosted his own feature-length Muppet Show. Yeah, it's and then that's besides the point, that like everything Disney touches turns to a business transaction that's really soulless, and they don't know what to do with it besides make it as like saturate the market with it to sell like toys and figurines. Not that the Muppets weren't like merchandising the fuck out of themselves. Like there's a quote someone gave about how the Muppets were producing so much merchandise that like future societies will excavate us and think we worship frogs and pigs. But like Disney is just completely cannibalizes everything. And
they're like not even doing much with the Muppets. Like, I think they like don't know what to do with them.
And it's
because
really,
like the Muppets are just kind of uncategorizable, and I think that's the root of them not being able to know what to do with them.
Well, like the best format, I think, for the Muppets is a variety show. But like variety shows, I mean, the SNL is like the only kind of like variety show like thing that is still, I think, popular. Like, you don't really have like, I mean, it's also like so much stuff is all television. It's supposed to be like, so if it's storytelling, it's even the comedies are all like really dramatic and dark and saying something, and it's so I could see how they might think it would be hard to market just a variety show with the Muppets.
Yeah, because variety shows don't really exist anymore. They've been supplanted by, like, I think we could probably say our equivalent nowadays are short form videos.
Yeah. Like, I was thinking that like the kind of spiritual successors to the Muppets at this current moment are like Dropout and Smosh and Star Kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking like a sketch comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, there is absolutely great comedy out there right now.
Yeah.
Sketch
It's just
comedy.
not within the variety show format.
Yeah, and it's not got the Muppets.
Yeah.
One of the things that I love about the Muppets is that I'm pretty sure sometimes they would design a new puppet just for a single gag.
Yeah. Like the little brown thing in the Don Knotts
Yeah.
moment.
Yeah. Or the Alice Cooper, like Alice Cooper's
Yeah.
Muppet Gang.
Or the piano shaped pet for Liberace.
Yes. Yes, I was also also in the Alice Cooper episode, the little like monster bird creature who ends up like being Miss Piggy transformed, because of course she signed the Faust contract and rescinded her, because she can absolutely rescind her signature and any sort of contract. She's Miss Goddamn Piggy.
Her soul only got rented, not sold.
Yeah,
I think that's the joke where he's like, oh, do I get an hourly rate if I rented?
Yeah. It's like the Muppets are so, it's like we said this earlier, but especially now where there is no like monoculture anymore, and everything is so contentious and atomized, and you can like construct and live in your own little world at the expense of anything else. But like the Muppets are truly for everybody, which should not make should make the Muppets like timeless in a way that it's baffling that Disney does not know what to do with them. But at the same time, the Muppets are also so specific to the people who created them and brought them to life that
like they're for everybody, but in a way that like doesn't sacrifice like the artistry or the specifics of each character or each bit or anything.
I haven't watched any of the new Muppet shows, but I was like looking at plot summaries on Wikipedia, and it seemed like a lot of like the recent like the Disney Plus Muppet shows, they try to like do like a kind of like serialized, is that the right word?
Serialized.
Yeah. Like it seems like it's like, oh, there is like a one conflict that you have to watch the episodes in order, to like, because there is actually something going on behind the scenes, and it's like, and it's still like about the Muppets like putting on a show, and like I think they still had like some guests and stuff, but it was like there's studio involvement, and there's reoccurring characters, and I'm like, I don't like, there was a setup in the Muppet Show about how they were putting on a show, but it wasn't like you can kind of just put one on, and also it's not like really about like, maybe the technology has slightly changed, but it doesn't feel dated. It doesn't feel like it's
there's nothing dated about there's nothing dated about the Muppets themselves at all. Like even the Muppet Show, which is so heavily drawing on like pop cultural references from not just the 1970s but decades past, like Miss Piggy herself, like the problem with translating Miss Piggy into contemporary times, this was the argument the Be Kind Rewind video made, was like, we don't live in glamorous times anymore, so like our idea of the movie star, like we don't have that anymore. So for younger audiences, they're not going to quite get the joke, hence why they're trying to push her in the direction of being a girl boss, which is about the worst thing you can do, and completely misses the point, like where she should be more in the vein of like your Jenna Maroney or even your Dee Reynolds, if you really want to take like Miss Piggy down a couple pegs. Let her try to be Miss D. But the Muppets themselves, like, because on the other hand, so the humor is also just puns and wordplay and dumb things, and that's inherently timeless.
Yeah.
Every single Statler and Waldorf joke hits. To this day.
Yeah, I'm in my Statler and in my Waldorf era. I've literally had that reaction. There was I'm not gonna say which specific film it was, but I went to a film screening once, like a premiere screening, and I was having that reaction at the screen. I was on my Muppets in the goddamn balcony bullshit.
Was that a great number?
I don't know. I slept through it.
Me too. That's why I asked.
I just looked it up because, okay, I remember I didn't go to Disneyland often as a kid, but I went a couple of times. Did you ever, either of you ever go to like the California Adventure?
No,
which was
was
like
not.
the second.
When I vaguely remember going to Disneyland and California Adventure. I have gone to Disney World multiple times.
Okay, well maybe.
And in Hollywood Studios, there used to be a Muppets Land. It's no longer there, and the Muppet like 3D theater thing is no longer there.
That's the thing I looked up because I remember.
But at least they're gonna put Electric Mayhem and Rock and Roller Coaster.
Yeah, but I loved the Muppet. It's the Muppet 3D show where you could go to a theater and it was a Jim Henson directed and produced show that you got to see, like this original Muppet show, but they also had like kind of like interactive theater elements because they had I think animatronic, like they had the balcony with Statler and Waldorf and like animatronics that would like they would like heckle and stuff during the show too. And at one point, like I remember there would be like someone that would walk out like in a Sweetums costume, and so like you would see like Sweetums like walking down the like row, and it was that was magic.
Oh, no longer exists.
And it no longer exists.
It's so sad. We're
because to me, like, yes, there's so much about Disney and all like that.
I'm like praying for Electric Mayhem Rock and Roller Coaster to be good.
But for me, like when I was a little kid and going to Disneyland, the magic to me was not like, oh, this is a fun, exciting ride. It was like you were immersed in this world.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's the design. It's the fact that you are in this completely new place. Like the like Muppet theater where it was suddenly like, oh my God, the Muppets are here. They're actually here.
That's huge.
And it was so cool. And like, I don't know. I mean, I know that there is still some cool like design stuff they're doing with new rides, but it was also really, I'm sure it was great for the parents. It's really nice that it's like, okay, I can go and I can sit down someplace that's quiet and cool for half an hour.
Air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? We didn't have time to go there, but when I went to New York City this past spring to go see Charlie, because I have a wonderful boyfriend who takes me to things and gets me tickets to go see Charlie in Brooklyn. We were told to go check out the Museum of the Moving Image because they actually have on display a Miss Piggy puppet. They have like a whole Muppet section, and we didn't have time, and nor did we have time to go out there. Just for like time and logistic purposes the last time we were in New York City, but it's on our list. I desperately need to go see Miss Piggy in person. I will lose my fucking mind. That will be like meeting Jesus Christ for me.
I know that once or twice there's been Jim Henson exhibits at the Museum of Popular Culture here in Seattle, and I can't remember if there was ever actual like puppets. There must have been, because I know it was like a really cool exhibit. I just remember the main thing I remember is like seeing like the like Jim Henson's notes and sketches and stuff, which was really cool.
Yeah, I'd also recommend people to, I had this on in the background like a week ago while I was working, but there are a couple of documentaries, like hour-long documentaries about like the making of the Muppet Show, where you see all the work that goes into it, the technical aspect of the coordination and having everyone plan out skits together. So like, just if you're a fan of the Muppets, I would also highly recommend watching any sort of behind the scenes or making of kind of content, because it's so interesting, and it's one of those special things too, because it still doesn't break the illusion when you even know, like, just the cognizance of being like, that's Frank Oz under there controlling this puppet. Like, there's something, it doesn't matter. Like, it doesn't matter. You are so easily able to hold these two things in like units, like these two disparate things. The fact that these are puppets, they're not actually real, there's a person controlling them, but Miss Piggy is also real, and she is my friend. Like, it's Miss Piggy. She's like a person. There's a like real like humanity or personhood to them, because they are like star personas. Like, even you can make that same argument about celebrities themselves as being a purely constructed image. That's this, that the Muppets are literally camping the star image. But yeah, I have especially a newfound appreciation for the artistry of the Muppets after watching several of those documentaries.
Also, I love how within the show itself, it's kind of implied that they're all like putting this together on the fly.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it's always
like borderline
unscripted.
And it's like there's no way this is actually unscripted, because
I relate to that, honestly.
It's impossible to do all of that without a script.
I honestly, I know we talked a little bit about relating to specific Muppets, but Saffron, I agree. I kind of relate to Kermit as well. I sometimes feel like I'm pulling together, at least on my show. I'll love to Stu and Cole. I love you guys, but sometimes it can feel like we're 15 seconds to show time and things are falling apart, and oh no, what are we gonna say about this goddamn fucking Marvel movie that did not inspire any intellectual thoughts whatsoever? We're just gonna spend the first 20 minutes talking about what's skincare. Yeah, I also relate to having to pull together at the last, or not even, we prepare for episodes, but sometimes I do feel like Kermit in those little neurotic moments where it's just, let's get through this together, guys.
This is not going to work.
Just read it off the page, Frog.
Leggies and jungle funds. Leggies and jungle funds?
That's it.
Yes, leggies and jungle funds.
All right, so my typing is bad.
Leggies and jungle funds. Welcome again to the Muppet Shocks. My name is Kermit the Forg. The Forg?
Come on, pick up the pace. Here we go.
And our special guest step is the amazing Harry Belafonte. That's Harry Belafonte, folks.
Kermit, your timing must be off. You should be getting big laughs with that stuff.
I mean, God, I have just other little notes about little things I loved, but I wanted to bring up, and we were talking about, the craft and the, how maybe thinking or trying to understand how something is made doesn't ruin the illusion or the enjoyment. One of the first episode I watched for this discussion was the Rita Moreno episode, and the first bit in that, I was like, I'm pretty sure, like, it's this whole like, coming into this like bar and like dancing and then throwing around this guy, and I'm like, I think like that's a moment where it switches from a guy in a suit to like just a dummy, that so that she could have these like comic acts of like, just tossing. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I know how this is made, but it was still absolutely hilarious. It was still like
that's part of the fun. That's part of the fun.
Yeah, I think because that also brings a as I mentioned earlier, that can bring a new level of appreciation where it's like seeing a magic trick, even though you know it's completely fake. Then it becomes a matter of how did they do that and trying to figure out like how they cut a woman in half or made the
Yeah.
constructed the illusion of cutting a woman in half,
Yeah.
you know?
It's about embracing the artifice.
Right.
Exactly. I just had so much fun rewatching these episodes.
These are
I've
so
definitely like,
fun.
oh, I need to just this will just become something I'm like, because I mean, my go-to show if I'm feeling like sad is Parks and Rec because that was a show that I don't know, I've watched when I was slightly older, I guess, that is a comfort show. But I'm like, oh, if I truly need comfort now, I need to remember I can go and put on some Muppets.
Yeah. Yeah. No, again, easy watch. They're 25 minutes
Yeah.
less without like the opening or closing, which you should watch the opening and closing because they have like a gag in the intro and then the like pre opening credits bit where they introduce the gas or Scooter comes out is like 15 seconds to showtime, which is like I need more than like 5 minutes to do anything.
Yeah.
And then they'll have like an end stinger at the very end of the episode.
And also, you don't want to skip that song.
You know,
Like,
it's
why
such a
would you
fun
skip that song?
Yeah, that's like to me that's like tantamount to skipping like Cruel Angel's Thesis if you're watching Evangelion. Or like or here's another incredibly Nicole thing to say, like the opening of Twin Peaks if you're watching an episode, like don't skip that shit. You don't skip that shit. Muppets is just yeah, love what else can I say but love the Muppets. We love the Muppets. And I love you and I love you, Kermie. I love you, Kermie. He is I am yeah, he sits on my like little mantle over there. He watches everything I do. He watches out for me. He's my little patron saint of like uh creativity and pulling things together and the joy of making things with your friends. So thank you so much, Kermit. Thank you.
Oh, what a lovely sentiment.
This is so wonderful.
Is there anything else you guys want to talk about or like specific moments that you thought of that you noted that you're like, this is so camp or this is fun?
I feel like all of the moments in the Alice Cooper episode and the Debbie Harry episode and the Vincent Price episode, like I think those are my favorites alongside the Harry Belafonte.
I was actually gonna say there was a moment there's a moment in the Debbie Harry episode that actually kind of almost brought me to tears. It's when they all start singing Rainbow Connection.
Oh
yeah. And they're
also,
just like at her dressing room.
Yeah.
Like it's not even like in the stage. It's just her and Kermit in her dressing room.
It's so beautiful. And there's also a similar like because a movie that is another thing I relate the Muppets very closely to, you know, my parents, my family, like my mom literally gave me this Kermit as a little tiny child and kept him and gave him to me this summer. But there's the little moment in the Alice Cooper episode where Robin sings Over the Rainbow, and The Wizard of Oz is a very important film to me. It's one of my favorite films. It's a film I very much closely associate to my parents as well, and that's especially in the Alice Cooper episode too, to have like that little bit in there. So yeah, for as much as the Muppets entertain me and make me laugh, they're also like I've also found myself getting a little choked up at certain points.
Yeah.
Which is beautiful. Which is truly beautiful.
I mean, the Rainbow Connection is
it's such a beautiful song.
A beautiful song.
It's such
like it's a classic for a reason.
And I love that the framing of them singing that song is Kermit being like, oh, you know, oh Debbie, you have all these rainbow related songs you suggested we sing, but you're missing something.
Yeah.
She's like, what? Oh, Rainbow Connection. And she's like, well, I thought maybe you're tired of it. And he's like, no, like, no, we are like, I think that's like a both the performers and the audience. It's like you can never get too much Rainbow Connection. Like,
Yeah.
and who wouldn't want to sing that with Debbie Harry?
Yeah, the coolest woman you can fucking sing that with.
Oh,
You know?
I also love that the bit about the little frog scouts, how they're really into, like, they're excited to get to meet Debbie Harry, and like they're like, oh, we're gonna learn how to be punk, and they're like making their punk merit badge, and they're all like dressed up, and it's like there's kind of like a, oh, like this is different than when I was a kid, but it's not like a it's not mocking, it's not like a cruel thing. It's like very much like, yeah, we're gonna have these little frog puppets embrace being punk.
Yeah. Actually, you know what I just discovered? I'm looking. Somehow Rainbow Connection didn't win the Oscar for Best Original Song. It went to some song nobody has heard about from the Sally Field film Norma Ray. What the
The
fuck?
Oscars are full of that. The Oscars are full of
Mickey
times.
Mouse awards, Mickey Mouse ass awards, but this is like a level of egregious. I don't know if I've ever like actually like dead ass actually up there with giving Best Picture to Crash, in my opinion.
The bad Crash.
That would actually, oh my god, wait. David Cronenberg with the Muppets.
I literally
because David Cronenberg has acted before. He's
literally
the bad guy in Nightbreed.
I literally put it down. I literally put David Cronenberg down as a
No
potential
way.
Muppet guest, and then I was like, nah, I'm not gonna bring it up because he's not like really a comedian.
No,
or,
he would.
or
No, but he can
work.
hang. He would so work.
He can hang.
And I
He can hang.
He has his sunglasses.
And he
his
has
like
it.
fun sunglasses.
I do think it'd be really funny because he also, Cronenberg has a like cultural image. And he's also like, but he's like also just like a chill guy. Like, I think it would be really fun to have.
David Lynch too would have, God bless his soul. David Lynch would have been excellent with the Muppets. I think, like, I know they also did like on Sesame Street. I know they did like the Twin Peaks bit. So like, you know, that would have been cute. But like, oh my God, David Cronenberg with the Muppets would be so wonderful. Like now, even like 80-year-old David Cronenberg, he can still do it.
Yeah,
I believe in him.
Yeah,
Disney's not gonna let that happen though. Disney's like, no, we're getting Benson Boone.
Don't eat that.
Absolutely
like
not.
Actually makes me cringe thinking about that. It was so much fun when I could tell that the guest stars were having so much fun.
Yeah. That's also another one last thought I have, or just one last note. The Muppet Show would always like reach out to a potential guest, or the guest would reach out to them, and they would ask that person, is there something you would like to do specifically on the show that you would not get the opportunity to do elsewhere? That's kind of what they do with the Raquel Welch episode, because she was really just treated and regarded as a sex icon, and the intro of that episode is her reading a book and playing with that image. So like the Muppet Show was really providing a space to like actors, musicians, whatnot, to do things they otherwise felt they couldn't do in like as a part of their star image, or in other projects, like characters who were typecast, or actors who were typecast, for example. Like, it really allowed them to broaden their range, you know, and I think that's that's definitely not something that Disney is probably going to import into the new iteration of the Muppet Show, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
I loved how the Carol Burnett show, like with her episode, like even though her whole thing is variety shows, that's the episode that refuses to be a variety show.
Yeah, I had been like, oh, I want to watch this episode, and then it ended up being the one I didn't like as much, because I know she's like in on it, but I didn't like it. It wasn't as fun that she didn't seem to be having fun, even though I knew it was acting. It was still like, wait, this is weird. I don't.
Carol Burnett, I believe.
I like the concept of it.
Yeah, the I
of,
shoot
like,
horses, don't it?
The one time they
all.
have a variety show person, they're like, no dance marathon.
Yeah. They did win the Emmy for that specific episode too. So
I mean,
it works.
It is also another one of those, like, if you start to think about how they did it, you're like, wait, hold on, how did they have a bunch of so many dancing puppets?
Yeah, that's fun.
This is a show about joy and making stuff with your friends, and gosh, is there a good little sign off we can?
Yeah, I guess I can plug. I'm Nicole.
Oh
yeah, Nicole. As I've said, I'm Nicole from Marvelous or The Death of Cinema, a podcast about excavating the just terrible fucking landscape of the contemporary usually American blockbuster, which means going through the IP mines. Where it's called Marvelous, but we don't just do the Marvel films. We unfortunately have to subject ourselves to like Jurassic World movies, and eventually we're gonna have to watch fucking Morpheus. But sometimes we get to watch a Venom, and Venom would actually make a good It's Giving Camp episode for you guys, because that's like the fun of those films. I said it earlier, but I'm now one of the feature programmers for Boston Underground Film Festival. So if you are, I especially want to put out the call for queer, female, POC filmmakers. Please submit to us. Go to Boston Underground. I should have the link. But just search Boston Underground Film Festival. We're currently accepting submissions, documentary and feature film.
What's the dates for that?
I believe we're still accepting submissions into January.
Okay.
And Boston Underground Festival is very important to me. I've covered it as a critic for the Arts Views, which is the online local Boston-based film, or not film, but local magazine I write for. I also was finally able to meet Fabiola at the screening of Fuck Toys, which was the perfect circumstances in which for us to actually meet in person. So
such a good night.
And by the time this episode goes out, my review, I'm currently just putting together and writing a review of the Chainsaw Man movie, which fucking ripped. I don't know if either of you have watched or read any Chainsaw Man.
I've seen fan art.
I loved it. The movie was, as I said, it was the fucking tits. So that'll be up by the time this episode goes out, and that's about all I have to plug right now.
Yeah.
I feel like for me, like, my little last sign off is the Muppets are for the arts.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
The Muppets are for the arts. The Muppets are for everybody.
Well, thank you, Nicole.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me back. I can't wait to collect my 5th challenge coin next time. So
thank you to our patrons:
Ike Everard, Dominic Overman, Joshua, Marcus Gorman, Arcadia Reeves, Jose Liano, and Pericles Kaspari.
This episode was edited by Saffron Hefta-Gaub.
Our theme music is by Harrison Lurie. I've been Saffron Hefta-Gaub. You can find me everywhere at Gaub Hefta.
I've been Fabiola Liano. You can find me on Instagram at Fabiola the Gremlin and on Twitter at Fabiola_Liano. The podcast, It's Giving Camp, on Instagram at It's Giving Camp Pod and on Twitter at Giving Camp Pod.
It really helps us out if you're able to give us a rating or review.
Be sure to support our Patreon.